So, of course, policymakers are certainly not the only fallible humans involved in standing up an e-voting system. Even a cryptographically sound system is on people to code it, people to deploy it, and people to maintain it. A coding error might open the system of denial of service attacks that halt an election. A mistake during deployment could allow an adversary to steal voting credentials and cast fake ballots. During routine maintenance, a database could be revealed instead of deleted, resulting in a huge loss of voter privacy. Now, these vulnerabilities are real, and the Haldeman Group analysis of Estonia's i-voting system, for example, showed problems across all three of these phases. So it's important to realize that our present voting systems have numerous human points of failure, but the complexity of e-voting, again, sets it apart. Being a checker or a ballot clerk in a traditional system requires few specialized skills. Being a system administrator charged with overseeing an e-voter server, on the other hand, requires significant training and experience. Being a CISO for an election requires even more. So, and experienced cybersecurity professionals right now are in short supply. This is something that I've been talking about now for years, that we don't have enough people going into these fields, and we're looking to change that in a number of ways, and starting even at the high school levels, and probably even earlier than that, to encourage young people to go into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but in particular into the IT field, and especially into the field of cybersecurity. Now, part of the shortage is a result of a lag time, of course, in education. Cyber is a relatively new domain, so our universities are still ramping up cyber training capacity. But part of it is also tied to the inherent differences between cyberspace and meat space, you might say. So defending against an adversary has always been difficult. An attacker needs to find only a single point of failure to be successful, while a defender must protect against all possible breaches. This paradigm is exponentially more challenging in cyberspace for two reasons. Now, one, it's just as easy to attack someone across the planet as it is to attack someone across the room. So the attack space is much larger. Two, it's almost as easy to attack everyone with a vulnerability as it is to attack one entity with a vulnerability, making the attack space still larger. So as a result, attacking is more lucrative, which draws off important talent even as more defenders are needed. Now, government agencies have been particularly hard hit in the battle for cyber talent. Part of this is due to the supply problem that I highlighted, and part of it is due to strict compensation rules. But we can also blame the lack of coordination within government and a corresponding duplication of effort. For example, after the recent Heartbleed vulnerability was revealed, the Department of Homeland Security got its servicers patched almost immediately. However, because it had to ask other agencies to scan their networks for the flaw, it took days before the .gov domain was completely scanned, days in which attackers were propagating in the wild, if you will. Challenges that have to be addressed if an e-voting solution is going to be deployed in the United States. In Congress, my Executive Cyberspace Coordination Act would clarify the lines of authority in the executive branch to allow DHS to quickly address challenges on the civilian networks, and would allow for top-level budgetary review of agency cyber budgets. I've strongly advocated for increased funding for cybersecurity research to help grow our academic infrastructure to meet demand. And I'm also open to alternative hiring practices that allow programmers with non-traditional educational backgrounds the chance to protect their country. I think that if we can make use of their talents, we absolutely should. And while Congress continues to deliberate, I voiced my full support for the NIST cybersecurity framework, which I believe will help raise cybersecurity standards across critical infrastructure domains. That a company like Target could be hacked through its HVAC vendor shows exactly why we need to promote raising the bar. So let me just say that before I close, I just have to make a brief digression into client-side security. When governmental policymakers talk about implementing an e-voting system, the focus is about almost always server-side. We can maintain the integrity of. I say the question should be asked: can we maintain the integrity of the ballots cast? But if the ballots itself, what if the ballot itself is compromised? Relying on a voter's PC or smartphone to honestly represent his or her intentions is simply naive, with malware as prevalent as it is. So protecting the integrity of an election is not limited to the edge of the government network. Without a risk mitigation strategy that accounts for the very real possibility of outside influence targeted on voters themselves, and the voting system really is incomplete. So to say that e-voting is a challenging prospect is really an understatement. But just as there are many security concerns with crypto systems, with the humans that run them, and with the devices that access them, there are many potential benefits as well. So I reject the notion that e-voting is a solution in search of a problem, just as I reject the notion that it's ready to be deployed today. Change something as essential to our identity as the way we choose our leaders ought to be a deliberative process and an inclusive one. And I hope that I've impressed upon you the importance of engaging with policymakers about e-voting systems in a manner that demystifies the guts as much as possible. And as the corollary to that appeal, I hope that you'll join me in advocating for the better use and better training of cybersecurity professionals, that they may defend our country from harm and better advise our nation's policymakers at the same time. So with that, I thank you for the work that you are all doing, and thanks for the opportunity to weigh in on this issue. I thank you to allow me to join you remotely. As I said, I would have much preferred to be there in person, but given the nature of the topic, maybe this is an appropriate way to communicate with you today as well. So I look forward to working with you to address these challenges. As a big fan of technology myself, and use it every day, and rely on it every day, as we all do. These are certainly exciting times, but not without risk and challenges. So thank you very much, and enjoy your conference.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.